Tesla, a clear outperformer on the year, still up on 108% year to date. A name that has been on an absolute tear. But additionally, we did get weekly vehicle insurance data from China that suggested that Tesla could achieve record quarterly sales in that market, which is much more crucial for the success of the overall company. So that to me is definitely more meaningful here. Tesla's also expected to announce its global second quarter delivery figures on July 2nd. So we are seeing the street consensus calling for around 450,000 vehicles. That's always a critical day. To me, that's almost like an earnings type event catalyst for Tesla shares. That is obviously next week. So we have that to look forward to here.
In this video, Tesla is days away from a record-breaking quarter, so don't be surprised when this happens. And to my Patreon supporters, please check out the latest video. If you're not a member, it's worth signing up just for this video alone. The most important investing lessons of all time. Ignore these at your own peril. If you're not a member of Patreon, check out the link in the pinned comment to join. And a quick heads up to my Twitter subscribers, I'm doing an exclusive Q&A, so submit your questions now. And if you'd like to subscribe over on Twitter, check the link in the pinned comment.
Speaking of another founder here, on Tuesday, Volvo announced that it would be the latest car company to join Tesla's charging network, following in the tire tracks of Ford, General Motors and Rivian.
Isn't it weird that all these automotive manufacturers are joining Tesla's supercharging network and putting Tesla charging plugs in their future generation vehicles? I thought that they'd all be asking Toyota to access Toyota's charging network and using Toyota's charging standard. After all, according to the guests we're about to hear from, Tesla doesn't have anything that Toyota doesn't already have. So why is it these companies are coming to Tesla rather than going to Toyota?
But Wall Street is keeping a close eye on the EV leader after some bearish calls. You see, a series of recent downgrades of the stock begs the question about Tesla's current valuation and what these partnerships could mean long-term for the company. Let's get another take from Roth Capital Partners senior research analyst Craig Irwin. Craig, good to have you on the show here. So what do you make of what we've seen here with a lot of these downgrades, but still seeing these raised price targets?
Well, what's going on is that the stock has performed incredibly well this year. There was a very tough ending to last year. They cut prices. And those price cuts were successful in reinvigorating enthusiasm on the sales side. And then you layer in the success of NACS, the Tesla charging protocol standard connector, being adopted by many of the leading OEMs. So, they've had some real wins, and the valuation has taken off like a kite, from close to $100 to, 250 plus is a big move. So, people are, I believe, just really being reactionary. I've maintained my long-term bearish stance. It's a great company. They played a huge role in transforming transportation, but you've got 100 new EVs coming to market. These big names you mentioned, Ford and General Motors. There's lots of old guard that's coming in with pretty compelling vehicles that I think is going to compete effectively and make it harder for Tesla to see the growth and the margins that they've been achieving going forward.
And I mean, at least for now, Tesla is still dominating versus some of the other EV makers out there. So how sustainable, though, is the demand side of the picture? As you mentioned there, so many more people coming into the fray with potentially cheaper models too.
Yeah, so what's been proven out actually is that demand is really price sensitive.
No shit, Sherlock. What's that thing I've said about 420 quintillion times? A linear decrease in price will create an exponential increase in demand. There is a non-linear relationship between pricing of vehicles, the number of people can actually afford those vehicles, and this fact is critical in Tesla's publicly stated master plan. In order for them to get to 20 million vehicles per year, they'll need to be selling most of these vehicles at significantly lower price points than they currently are. Thank you, Craig, for pointing out the obvious. This might be an awkward time to point out there are still some well-respected folks on Wall Street and in the Tesla community who think Tesla's average selling price at the end of this decade is going to be around $50,000 a pop. Good luck with that. Now, if we're including the software component, maybe a different story, but the hardware itself, good luck. My best guess, Tesla ASPs around the end of the decade will be about $30,000 globally. This is, of course, catastrophic news because unfortunately, Tesla can't keep making their vehicles cheaper and cheaper and driving the cost down. That's why they didn't hold an investor day earlier this year in which they unveiled plans to literally halve the cost of a compelling electric vehicle. Oh, hang on, no, that's actually exactly what happened. So I think what I'm trying to say is, good thing Tesla has a clear path to literally halve the cost of their vehicles so they can keep driving the cost down and massively expand the total addressable market for their products.
So Tesla's cut certain models as much as 30%. So, consumers respond, when there's big price changes, they do respond. EVs have been expensive because batteries have been expensive. There's been a lot of progress bringing down battery costs, but the capabilities really haven't been improving as quickly as people had hoped. As these things make progress over the next many years, it's inevitable. You're going to see continued fantastic adoption of electric vehicles. But demand is weak. Demand is a little choppy in this environment, which is why Tesla had to go out there and cut prices as aggressively as it did.
So how do you think sort of getting more partners on board with the supercharging network and that infrastructure and the revenue that might come from that, does that put it perhaps in put a bigger moat around it, I suppose?
Moat? How dare she? If she's suggesting that Tesla has a moat, that would indicate that they have things that companies, including Toyota, don't have. But that directly contradicts the thing we've heard regurgitated repeatedly from Craig Owen himself, claiming that Tesla doesn't have anything that Toyota doesn't have. The insinuation there is that Tesla doesn't have anything that any other company doesn't have because Tesla's just a car company like all the other just a car companies. The audacity of her to ask this question direct to Craig's face.
Yeah, so they have been roughly 80% of the North American market, dominating globally, and deserve full credit for that. A large part of that success was actually the supercharger network. The Tesla drivers charge on average about 15% of their miles driven on DC fast chargers, on these superchargers. The rest of the EV drivers in North America do about 5%. So their network is something that gives their customers a lot of comfort. So, it's also, a multiple of the size of everybody else's networks, the private networks. So General Motors and Ford and everybody else jumping in and signing these agreements to gain access to that is very positive for them, positive for adoption. We don't know how much their customers are actually going to end up paying versus Tesla customers. And, I think there is some potential impact to the Tesla brand. You're not really going to be enthusiastic sitting online to charge your vehicle behind a great big Hummer. It's going to take 2-3 times as long to fill the battery. So, there's pluses and minuses. They probably do make some money on this, and that's a fantastic thing. That's what capitalism is about. That's what drives investment. But I look at Tesla, I say it's egregiously overvalued, but man, what a fantastic pioneer to drive this industry forward.
So Tesla doesn't have anything that Toyota doesn't already have, but they are a pioneer driving the industry forward. Are those two claims both compatible?
I mean, and speaking of pioneering, we have to talk AI here. A lot of big bets coming from the AI side when, Elon Musk talked about, buying more chips from NVIDIA and really trying to get ahead of this. How much of that is also factoring into the fervor, and how much of that is sort of well-founded at this point?
Yes, so the institutional investors usually take that with a grain of salt. I mean, they trade it like retail investors. So there's, retail is a very large part of the trading and trading direction, trading velocity in the stock. But the big institutions all know that, on a relative basis, the importance of AI to Tesla is moderate.
Somebody please clip that. If you missed yesterday's video, check it out. These comments will absolutely not age well. Now, it's true. Right now, optically, from a distance, if you're not paying close attention, you look at Tesla and go, they're making and selling a lot of electric vehicles. They're just cars. They're selling lots of cars. That's most of their revenue, cars. Okay, yeah. AI, not a big deal. The appropriate analogy here is an iceberg. The cars are just the tip. Underneath, this fleet of cars is actually training Tesla's AI. They have a fleet of literally millions of vehicles on roads, collecting data, edge cases. This data is fed into neural networks to train their autonomous software. We're on the cusp of robotaxis awakening. The significance of this, the contribution of AI to Tesla's ultimate long-term valuation, and more importantly, their profits. AI is far and away the most significant part of Tesla's business. However, as I mentioned, optically right now, a lot of people don't see that. They just look at the tip of the iceberg. Oh, cars, yeah, no, what AI? Again, these comments will not age well. Look forward to revisiting them in a few years' time. P.S. What's an exaflop and why does Tesla need 100 of them?
The full self-driving capabilities are really a misnomer in my opinion. When you look at the rate of these false stops, the apparitions, when you're driving these vehicles, 1 to 4 or 5 a mile, and you think about those actually causing accidents, it's beautiful that they're pushing hard to develop the technology. I just think that others will be more careful in introducing things into the market. And, Tesla's going to make other people go faster, but the profit opportunity from this AI, I think, is much more limited for Tesla, at least at the moment.
So then when you're comparing sort of the near-term uncertainty versus longer term, would you say this is more of a bull run or a bull trap? How should investors be looking at this?
Well, it's definitely not a value trap. Maybe a bull trap is the right label. A lot of investors trade as momentum investors and are in this stock, correctly selling into strength, in my opinion, and then buying on weakness. I'm not against that kind of trading strategy. I do think that, if some of these concerns about the battery source for the rear-wheel drive Model 3, their highest volume vehicle, switching away from a Chinese source, that's a question mark. The impact of competition. Some of these other networks quite probably do better on a relative basis on the charging side than Tesla, given Mr. Musk's political posturing.
Right. So according to Craig Irwin, electric vehicle charging networks in direct competition with Tesla's superior ubiquitous supercharging network are likely to do better because of Elon Musk's political posturing. I think what Craig is saying here is some people might get super butthurt if Elon Musk has an opinion they don't like, and therefore they'll go charge somewhere else. Is that what he's saying? Because if we follow this to its logical conclusion, what are some alternative charging networks, say, in the United States? Well, how about Electrify My Asshole? Who built the Electrify My Asshole network? The same company that was founded by Nazis. Literally founded by Nazis. So I guess they're going to have to go to an alternative to Tesla supercharging network and Electrify My Asshole. Just between you and I think Craig's a little bit off the mark here. Of course, what would I know? I mean, it's not like there's actual companies themselves partnering with Tesla to gain access to the charging network for their own customers. Wait, no, that's exactly what's happening. But if that were the case, then Elon's political posturing will be a problem. Then why would these companies be partnering with Tesla and gaining access to a large portion of their supercharging network and adopting Tesla charging standards on their new vehicles? Logic doesn't quite check out here, Craig.
A lot of investors are acutely aware of this and watching closely, and as this evidence comes out, you can expect, some significant volatility in the stock. Goes up quickly, will go down equally as quickly. And, we're cautious. We think people should be aware that that's, a significant possibility, over the next number of months.
More EV players join in on Tesla's charging tech, but Jenny Horn, the shares are little changed. Guess maybe this story doesn't pack the same surprise anymore?
Yeah, Oliver, I feel like this is just the latest of the companies that are now joining their North American charging standard. Of course, that is Polestar. This will go into effect 2025, similar to the other companies we've heard from, those being Ford, GM, and Rivian. And Polestar is relatively a smaller company, so I think this is less impactful overall when you're a behemoth the way Tesla is now. But definitely good news, and actually it seems like the good news could keep coming, as we did get reports that indicated that the company may have achieved a strong second quarter in Australia, which is one of the several countries where it recently scrapped the option to order either the Model S or the Model X, of course, their higher end models.
Rest in peace, right-hand drive, Model S and X. Not just Australia, but every other region affected too, as far as I'm aware. Good while it lasted. I had a few friends that had reservations for Plaid Model S, no longer able to fulfill those. Unlucky. Just for the record now, as I record this, the Tesla Australia website only has information on and the ability to order the Model 3 and the Model Y. Plus, they have the Cybertruck page. You can't reserve, you can't order, but you can get notified of updates. What's the saying? The best product is no product. No, but seriously though, simplifying the product lineup makes a lot of sense for Tesla. It doesn't mean a few customers get fucked, but hey, what's the saying? You got to fuck a few customers to make an omelette? Something like that. As for Tesla having a blowout Q2 because of record sales of Teslas in Australia, don't want to rain on anyone's parade here, but the automotive market in Australia is tiny and irrelevant. I mean, it all counts. But the entire population of this country is about 25 million people. There are some states in the US alone with a greater population than the entire country of Australia.
Now, according to this report, Tesla sold out of its new inventory in the country with fewer than 20 vehicles remaining available for purchase nationwide. Why this is so significant is because Tesla did experience a pretty major inventory buildup across all of its vehicle variants earlier this month, including even its Model 3 with rear-wheel drive. However, the recent clearance of its inventories can be attributed to the fact that they're offering free supercharging for select Australian models. Although, again, a relatively small market, perhaps why we're not seeing this news drive shares up into the end of the day. But additionally, we did get weekly vehicle insurance data from China that suggested that Tesla could achieve record quarterly sales in that market, which is much more crucial for the success of the overall company. So that to me is definitely more meaningful here. Tesla's also expected to announce its global second quarter delivery figures on July 2nd. So we are seeing the street consensus calling for around 450,000 vehicles. That's always a critical day. To me, that's almost like an earnings type event catalyst for Tesla shares. That is obviously next week. So we have that to look forward to here.
So the odds of Tesla having a record-breaking quarter in terms of both production and deliveries are approximately 169%. That will also be true next quarter and the following quarter and the following quarter and the following quarter, and I can keep going on and on until we're at the end of the decade. The reason is Tesla continues to produce and sell more vehicles globally. They kind of need to do that to reach their goal or come close to their goal of 20 million vehicles sold in 2030. If you're ever uncertain as to whether or not Tesla has a chance of producing and selling more vehicles in one quarter over another, all you need to do is ask a question. During this quarter, were any factories not already at 100% of their capacity? In other words, were some factories increasing production over time, as in still ramping up? For example, this quarter, Berlin and Austin are currently ramping up. A few quarters from now, we're going to have a factory in Mexico ramping up. A few quarters beyond that, there'll be other factories under construction and then ramping up. You get the picture, right? Expect record-breaking quarters in terms of production and deliveries from Tesla in almost every, if not every quarter for the entire decade, if not beyond. Anything other than this will be a very bad sign.
Tesla, a clear outperformer on the year, still up on 108% year to date. A name that has been on an absolute tear.
It's not like anyone could have seen this coming. I mean, after all, it's not like Tesla stock was down almost 80% from all-time highs at the beginning of the year, meaning the odds of it being even lower, not great, and the odds of it being a lot higher year to date, fairly strong, which is why nobody tweeted this back on the 30th of December 2022 and didn't write, "It's going to be interesting to see the year-to-date Tesla change in 2023, starting from an incredibly low base," which is why I wasn't buying with every spare cent and didn't buy Tesla stock as a gift for some of my relatives as well. Merry Christmas. And don't forget, folks, we are days away from Tesla posting yet another record-breaking quarter. And expect 2 more of those in the second half of 2023. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, "What do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect." Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy. Wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon. And don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.